herbs. We've got a Chinese formula in there for bone marrow. Our uh, uh, let's see, our Ultimate Immune has herbs in there, and it has Velvet Antler in there. Notice the Natural Football League now is chewing on Velvet Antler for stamina. I don't know who turned them on to that, but Velvet Antler I've used particularly in real degenerative cases and neurological cases like quads and paraplegics, because it's the velvet stage, the growth stage on antlers, and there's nobody's hurt when this is done, and it is very powerful. I felt it helped me tremendously regenerate a C3, C4 quad, and that's a quad just under Christopher Reeves. And she had no movement but her tongue. Actually, she had a little lever on her wheelchair, and she moved it with her tongue. I regenerated her head to toe in 11 months. In 11 months, she could lift her legs, she could shake your hand, she had total nerve reconnection. And she was just starting on the path of being able to, we could get her up and get her, work with getting her walking, we could get her rolling on the floor, really reconnecting with her nerve responses. But she passed for some reason. They just found her passed, and we don't know why. I think maybe because she was getting better and better, and she had a fear that she would go to prison because she had a head-on crash and killed this other guy, and those other parents were relentless after her. And I thought, she already paid the price. He's free, and she's stuck in a chair. But people have their own thoughts about that. But the Ultimate Immune is a good bone marrow. I mean, there's some serious decay in the human cell, and we need help to help us. And animals that are not hurt help us pretty good. And then some are used chromatically for other things, including food, and so we take advantage of that a little bit. Let's see what this one is here. As of late, I am for the most part eating grapes, but doesn't matter much what it is. If it's sweet, it gets me every time. Does it? Well, sometimes there are people that this gets them, and so you want to make a parasitic kill. You want to really go after the candida in your body. At the same time, if you need to break through the vegetable line first, get some detoxifying done here, and get the adrenals in line where the cortisols are in line and everything, you can do that. It's okay. You don't have to freak out too much. Keep that high goal, work yourself toward that. Sometimes our bodies need to be cleaned out of the fungus and stuff like that, and the things and get the glands online again to get a homeostasis there, to get good sugar metabolism, so everything is working well. Clean the liver out, things like this, and then you'll be able to tolerate fruits as you should. So, it's not because you can't tolerate them that they're bad. It's just that your body isn't at the level that it can handle them, and you have to fix your body. I think there's no removal of lymph glands during surgery. This person had, this was Annie. Let's see, she said no to removal of lymph glands during surgery. Second biopsy, whole lump and margins, results inconclusive and sent away. Note, I did not tell doctor or surgeon I was on a detox for another reason, as I believe they would not approve. Of course they wouldn't approve. That makes you sick right there. I fell 12 foot plus. Yeah, I've talked to you before where you fell flat. That wasn't the reason for the lump, though. But climbing to support rail to get a piece of equipment off the roof. I still have various issues. Well, you could have some neuropathy and some breaking down of the nervous system there, the bottom of the feet and things. But again, if you go back to, Annie, why you have the lump in the first place, this goes back to the kidneys again and the adrenals again and the inability to move lymph. Well, you can imagine that trauma to tissue damages tissue. Well, then you need the janitorial service to come in and clean that tissue. You can't expect the blood to bring in the nutrition and to do everything for you. That doesn't work. You have to have the sewer system. You have to have the janitors come in and clean up the mess. And that's the lymph system. And so when your lymph system isn't moving well, that trauma, even back then, could still be that acidosis from that trauma, because trauma causes acidosis, just like foods. So when you have that trauma, and that trauma isn't healing, you know you're too acidic. When you have an injury and it's hanging around, you're too acidic, you're not moving your lymph. That's the bottom line to getting well. It isn't just bringing blood to the source. That's there. Capillaries, veins, everything. Everybody's there that way. But it's the broom sweepers. It's the trash removers. That's the problem, and that's the lymph system, not the blood. You can't dump trash into the blood. You know, dumping acids in the blood is not. You know, the body's smarter than most medical doctors by far, especially oncologists. You don't dump acids in the blood. Wake up to that. You know, and the body doesn't. You know, it knows better. So we just have to learn those things. So that, let me see, equipment or I still have various issues due to the fall, physio and lymph that remains mass. They said I developed fibromyalgia, pain man. You didn't develop that from the trauma. That's what you're developing from your weakness. So you have to look at this differently, Annie. You have to look at the fact that your trauma actually didn't heal because of your lymph. And now you're seeing, as you get older, you're seeing what your lymph is doing to you. Fibromyalgia, lumps in the breast, that's all lymphatic problem, not an injury problem. And that injury didn't exacerbate that. It just brought you in an awareness of where your problems really are, honey, and that's your lymph system. So you get honking on that lymph system, I guarantee you that any trauma that's left in those feet will come out of there. Knees, hips, all that will come out of there. Make sure your parathyroid is good. Remember, that's calcium utilization. Parathyroid, calcium utilization. You know, we don't understand the thyroid also produces calcitonin. Thyroid and parathyroid are used in the waxing and waning of the calcium of the body, so they are essential to be healthy for structure reasons. And then also you've got to move lymph, honey, and this is just what you're facing here. So you're on the right program, you're on the right focus. Tear into it, sweetheart. I know you're managing yourself with this like TENS thing, but don't try. It's not a curing element. You've got to remove the waste. You've got to get your lymph system moving, Annie. So hop on it and get deep into that and tear into that. You'll probably re-experience some discomfort in the feet, too. These are generally detox healing crises, as these old injuries do come back to haunt. So if there's a pain you're going through with that, don't freak out. You've been kind of controlling it with this unit, but machines cannot move your lymph and cure you and get your kidneys filtering and your adrenals up. I don't care what people's claims are. You know, some mask symptoms for a while. It's kind of like MSM and glucosamine, sulfur compounds mask symptoms for a while, only to have you wake up with some real serious problems. I'm glad you like the private health club, monkey man. I do too. It's a good thing. I for a lot of reasons. Easier for us. We're going to make it nice for everyone, and you're protected. And I like that. Protected as much as you can, you know. But I like that. I would like to see this spring up everywhere, where you guys were working in your areas with this, and we were just infiltrating the world. And that's why we give you different cost breaks when you get done with the class and things like this, because my goal is to change the consciousness of the planet, pure and simple, period. I could retire, I guess, but I'm not here to do that. I'm here to help change the awareness here, and for myself too, you know, to grow. Is it okay to use 200 proof alcohol? Well, the tinctures are 190 proof already. That they're pharmaceutical grade alcohol. They're 190 proof, so they're pretty strong. But you have to realize that when you mix herbs in with a little alcohol and a little water for 30 days, you're really breaking everything down into that. You're really kind of absorbing the consciousness into that, and then when you press with a 55-ton press or greater, you're literally just making those like the alcohol and the water, just major chemistry. It all becomes a major chemistry together. So it is strong for some, but the average person can handle plenty of that alcohol. It's not that much. Feels like it, but it's not that much. You can tell these are strong herbs even if you burn the alcohol off. Thanks again, Jackie Doe. I resonate with you too, honey. Let me see. My question is there something physically, such as an issue with the parathyroid, that would cause? Okay, I realize, let's see, in the past I thought I didn't dream. I realize now I was dreaming. I was not remembering. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, I was reading a book one time and someone said, well, men typically don't dream in colors. And so I was thinking, well, you know what? I never thought about it. Because as a male, you don't really think about your hair. Sometimes I'll end up in Home Depot and go, oh, man, I forgot to brush my hair. We're just so outer. Women are so inner. And so, that night, my master that I was working with at the time took me right out of my body, and we were hovering over this landscape, over this pathway, and the trees and the plants were emanating light, and they looked like jewels. The trees looked like jewels, and the flowers, and they were emanating lights like nobody's business. And it was a profound awakening to colors. And then I've always looked at colors after that. And then I visited the 1,000-petal lotus several times. And that's a reality for those in the Hindu religion. The 1,000-petal lotus is a very visible sight. It sits on the top of the mountains of Shahasradel Kanwal. And the 1,000-petal lotus is an incredible powerhouse of light from the top of the astral world down to the astral world and the physical world. It supports these worlds. If you think a rainbow is pretty, the 1,000-petal lotus is just a powerhouse of light that breeds ecstasy to see it. And I've seen it several times. Incredible experience. Not to throw any confusion out there, there's a lot of reality beyond this very inert, constipated level. Yeah, okay. So just keep it opening up. Pineal gland, yeah, could have some things. I mean, there could be some, suppression maybe. But remember, you're not your pineal gland. You are far beyond this physical. You do not let anything outside of yourself disturb yourself. That's why get in the now. Your pineal gland, all these essences are not in the now. They are, but they're not. So you have to get a hold of you up and beyond all the bodies, all the minds, all the emotional body, all that, all your id, get above all of this. And then you won't be affected at all by what's going on with the pineal gland or whatever, because your consciousness is exuding from you as soul and not from your bodies. And so that's why it's important to keep working in the now, to keep working with the observation technique, where you start observing life instead of thinking and creating. You step back. You observe a movie. You don't get lost into the movie. You observe. And it's a position that frees you up from the social structure of creation and the limited consciousness that offers you, and gives you to the more expansive level of oneness and freedom. And that's real important in terms of your survival in creation, so to speak, and outside thereof. Even though you can't never die, you can't hurt yourself, and you can't run, you can't go anywhere you're not. You ever notice that? There's nowhere you can go to hide from yourself. And that's why you got to get in and settle down and get used to yourself, because you're all beautiful beings and light. And like I said, when you get to the point that you can see everything as God, including the people you don't like, that's a good position to be in. You don't have to like things in creation if they're not what you see, but you have to love it all.